studio. This is Emma welcoming you on a fairly chilly wintry day here in the UK, which is why I've got all my layers on, because you never quite know what it's going to be like, especially when I go out through my studio door. Some of you are probably on the beach right now, some of you may be in your gardens enjoying summertime, so I just say good on you. And our turn is coming. It's February the 1st today, and that's really cool because that means spring is on its way. The nights are definitely getting lighter and the birds are singing, which I always think is a fantastic sign. And I've got bulbs coming up in my garden, and I've even got some primroses flowering, which is just wonderful. So first of all, a very warm welcome to you here in my studio. Those of you who haven't been here before, an even more bigger welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining me here. Thank you for subscribing. I've just been watching the numbers clicking up every time I put my computer on. I think, crikey Moses, there's a shed load more people coming to join us here on this fun channel where we just play with fabric and thread and have a nice time, I hope. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about what to do when you don't know what to do. I'm in the middle of, in fact, no, I'm not going to show you anything. No, it's top secret, top secret. I'm in the middle of putting together a new online workshop, which I'm really quite pleased with. And I hope that you will enjoy doing when the time comes. I'm hoping to get it out, kind of rolled out, kind of the end of the week-ish, possibly into the early next week. It just depends how long it takes me to film and edit and put it all together, because there's quite a bit of work goes into it. But at least having done one online workshop, I now know how the system works, because that's part of the learning curve, is learning how to actually put it up online. So what I've got here, some of you who watched my last video will have seen me tidying up my studio, which I have to say, it kind of looks a bit of a mess again, but I don't care because it's all about the creativity that is going on in here. And you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs, so just from time to time I will tidy up, and I'm sure it's the same. It's the same at home, isn't it? In your house, you can deal with it for so long being a mess, and then you just have to tidy it up. So into my little jam jars last week, I was kind of cutting up even smaller some of my small scraps, and I've been adding into it as I've done some more tidying, and I've been working on my new workshop and little bits that have just been popped in there. So this is a jam jar full of it's a bit like, you know, when you put salt, people keep salt in, don't they, and they sprinkle it on your or herbs or something, and you're sprinkling it onto your cooking. This is, for me, it's a bit like adding seasoning to what you're doing. Or it's a source of inspiration. If you don't know what to do, just get a jar out. And if you've got an embellishing machine, as I have, and I know many of you have, you can use that, or you can just be stitching them down. You know, they're just quite fun to do. So a jam jar, or I have lots of bags like this. This one's kind of got some yarns in and some, or what would you call it, knitted fabrics and things like that. It's got some lovely green, like what I call shrugs, you know, those sort of shrugs that people have, and I don't wear them, I cut them up. And so that's got some yarns in blues. I'm feeling the blues today, and this is got all sorts in. It's got some lovely lacy bits, some organzas, some more of my stretchy knitted stuff, some lovely bits of, I think that's just some yarns that I've bought in a packet when I've been to Woolfest or something like that. So I've basically got a bag full of that stuff, and what I do is I'll just take a handful out, I'll stick it in a basket like this, and I will take it over to my embellishing machine, put those bits in as well. I mean, look at that for yumminess. I'm going to take that over to my embellishing machine. Today I'm going to be using a bit of old blanket, which is a thing that I use quite a lot. I'll just show you, there's one here. This is not a current piece, this is quite an old piece, but it's using old blanket on the back, and this is a piece that I've embellished lace onto and then done free machine embroidery into. But old blanket is really useful because it's very, very stable. It's nice and thick, but it's also nice and soft. It means you don't need to put a stabiliser on when you're stitching it, you just embellish straight onto it. Or if you're just going to use free machine embroidery, if you haven't got an embellishing machine, then old blanket, it's really, really great. And sometimes you can pick them up in charity shops or thrift stores for not a lot of money. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to go over to my embellishing machine with a handful of scraps, and we're just going to see what happens. I think it might be something sea-ish because I think those are those sorts of colours really. Okay, so we've got a little pile of scraps here that I'm just going to embellish down onto this. This is a piece of old blanket, and it's just very easy to embellish into because it's quite receptive and soft. But you don't have to use old blanket. This is just what I'm showing you with today, a little bit of a demo, and we'll just see if we can get you to see what we can do. So these are just little scraps of different kinds of fabrics, and I'm just going to make a bit of a noise now. So now that's quite magical, isn't it? Now inside here, basically it's a machine that has a number of needles behind this little thing here, behind this little cover. This one's got 12 needles, and some of them have, I don't know, 5 needles, 7 needles, and this one has 12 because it's a workhorse and I use it a great deal. So I bought one with it's a very well engineered one, and it's got 12 needles. So oops. See, that's gone in a funny position there. If I show you that, that's actually kind of, so I'm just trying to show you it without it disappearing. It's kind of, it needs taking off, so I'm going to just try and take that off because it's not quite where I want it. So I'm just going to take that off like that, you see. Because there's no thread, they're needles, they're just really sharp needles. And if anybody's done hand needle felting, then that's basically what they are. Little needles that push and punch. Now see that's gone. Now that's gone really wonky. That's gone a bit wonky, so I'm actually going to take that off again. I should really be pinning these on, but I'm just being a bit laid back about it this afternoon. In fact, I'm going to move you back a little. I'm just going to move you back a little bit. I feel as though you're just a bit too close in there, and I can't show you everything. Here we go. That's better. Oops. So anyway, you get the gist. It's basically attaching the fabrics to the surface that's underneath, and then you can stitch into those if you wish to. I think it's the most wonderful tool for blending fabrics and making new surfaces to stitch into. I love the way it distresses the fabrics that you put under the needles, and it blends colours, and you can add textures. And so I'm just going to put this little bit of organza on here. Just put that little bit of organza on. Okay, so with my embellishing machine, I've created a sort of a base layer with all these different colours down. And now what I'm adding on are some more little bits of yarn, some little bits of lace, a little bit of my knitted shruggy material, and I thought this might be quite nice. This is a very mohairy kind of yarn, wool yarn, which because it's wool will embellish down nicely. And I mean, I could be adding some more threads and things onto there, but I think we'll just keep it fairly simple for now. And to help keep these things in place, I'm just going to pop on top. This is just a piece of, I'll just show you it here. It's just a little piece of net, just dress weight net, and we'll just pop that on top of there. And so what we'll do now is I'm just going to carefully pin this net on. I'm just pinning it on around the edges. I just need it loosely pinned just so it holds all the other bits underneath. And when I embellish, obviously I'm going to embellish very carefully, and I'll take the pins out. Okay, so we'll embellish that next. I'm just embellishing it quite lightly because I don't want it to be held down so hard that it's really flat. I think it's quite nice to add some layers on the top of your embellishing that are not held down quite so strongly, so you start to build up a bit of texture. Just a little more on that corner because it's going to come off otherwise. So we'll just pull that out. Okay, so that's all embellished down, and I'm just going to very carefully peel back the net. Most of it's going to stay down, I think, and I could always just pop that under the embellisher again if I wanted to. You can see that it's held most of it down, but there's still a little bit of looseness to it, which I quite like. I didn't want it all completely flattened, so I'm just going to go and do a little bit of free machine embroidery onto that and see where that takes me.